I'm good. Our weather is a little iffy out here, but I'm good.
Where are you based today?
I'm home today, so I'm in San Pablo.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say out here like it's super far away, but it's actually not.
How far away is it?
Well, I'm in Milpitas. I kind of think of the Bay Area as local.
Yeah, somebody from Milpitas would think that.
I guess Walnut Creek, I think it, because we can just cut through Lafayette to get over there and boom.
Right. Well, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. The weather is what it is. So what is on your agenda for today?
You know, I don't know that I have anything in particular. Last week I had a couple things and then we didn't meet, but we talked about so much in group. Got caught up on my reflection. I have
Oh,
another one to send. I
oh,
had the verbatim, which I was really happy to finish number 4.
I know you are.
And I think that I'm actually really looking forward to discussing with this group, this cohort. I think
Okay,
I'll learn
good.
I'll learn a lot from that. So I think probably I'd table that one till tonight just to see. Um,
What all we're gonna say to you.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna I'm gonna take good notes and just add it to the vault of learning that feels like a fire hose from CPE. And if I can walk away with like 2 things, that's good for now.
Gotta work
And
on
then
the
I
hose
have, oh,
experience.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I gotta work on that fire hose experience. Go ahead.
No, it's really good. It's such a useful tool, CPE is. And
Hmm.
I'm a person who, when I find something useful and applicable, I just want to like get my head around it and start doing it right away, which this
Oh,
is more like an uncovering and a layering and a
right.
building, but it comes in stages. And if you rush it, you can try, but it's much more effective. I'll use the word chunking, like learning chunks. You do a
Hmm.
chunk at a time and then you move to the next chunk and build a thing. So,
That's good advice. Yeah. No, I love that. Okay.
so I actually like that you just chuck stuff at us. I mean, there comes a point, yeah, when our eyes glaze over, but for me, that's more length than it is content because
Okay.
I feel like content, at least we can always go back and look at it. And then it's like, oh, I remember she said something about that. Let me just go
Right.
check versus never having heard it and being like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Hmm.
So that was kind of when I wrote my last reflection and did
Yeah.
the mental health didactic. I vaguely remembered what really stuck with me was your list. It was like 3 pages long of crazy
Yeah.
nutcase, all that. And I just remember how impactful it was that you said all those words. Because even I'll colloquially use words like that casually, like I'm nuts or I'm cuckoo today, things like that.
Right.
And not even think about the broader normalization of that. So that was kind of what had me think about it, just going into knowing it was a mental health referral and then just being like, okay, I'm just going to start at the beginning and skim this and see there's probably something in here. She knows a lot about mental health and it's like 100 pages. So we'll see how far I get.
Oh, that's good. I appreciate it and thank you for bringing it to my attention. I had missed it, so thank you for flagging it back. I think I'm going to change next unit and I'm going to have them come to my home because I think I every now and then the firewall at work will
Oh,
block
is that what it
something.
is?
And who knows what word was in. So I think I'm going to switch to that. But that's another. Well, so if you don't have any items, I think, send you an email saying I think it would be helpful to look at your outcomes. I might have.
I don't know about that, but I read your most recent review and you asked me some questions. I don't remember that on there, but yes, let me pull it up and see what I got. I'm only on my phone here, so sorry for my finger
Okay.
getting in the way. Okay. Outcome indicator you're talking about?
Yeah, I wanted
Document?
to just run through a few of them,
Okay.
in part because I think I can identify kind of a growth edge for some of them
Great.
as you're going into your next unit.
Great.
Um, Not that you're not accomplishing what you need here at level 1B. So, like for example, the easiest one is the narrative history, which we all almost pretty much memorize. So that 1B1 for you. Um, and I'm gonna just identify the growth edge because I know we don't have that much time and I want you to have a chance to have some conversation. But I definitely could celebrate your strengths in that, right? The growing edge is to begin to link the insights that you have in terms of your narrative history with behavioral science
Mm,
or theological frameworks.
mm.
So as you move forward, and that could be family systems, trauma-informed care, any of them. Erickson's, which you did for one of your visits. So that's going forward. Does that one make sense?
Yeah. Actually, I feel like you've said it in other ways, just not as clearly as you just said it now for me. So I kind of understand what you want.
Okay.
And you're, I think, like two reflections back, you mapped everything so clearly for me. And I was like, oh, I bet that's what I'm supposed to do with these outcome indicators. So it's been on my mind, but I kind of just kept my existing pattern to finish
Right.
this. So that's a good clarification.
And it's fine to keep that pattern going forward and having in your chunk, hey, here's some stuff I can add on this as I get to the next unit where the expectation is going to be different. And one I think is such low-hanging fruit for you is the social cultural identity that often in your reflections, the gender and power piece is so well articulated, right? And you could expand that with conversations beyond gender
Mhm.
and include social location factors like race, class, faith, tradition, and the ways they shape your perspective and your relationships. So that's kind of like as you're moving forward, you're like, oh, how's this informing my perspective and my relationships? And boy, you've had, in your reflections, you had plenty of occasions where that's what was happening.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and then your orienting system. Yeah, we're inviting you into that theological piece. And whatever insights you might have, however you might articulate your sort of theological orientation. And I say that because you've identified as Christian to invite you into that theological language within your orienting system.
Okay.
If you didn't identify with a religious tradition, I wouldn't use the term theological, but I'm inviting you into it because of what you've already identified. Just takes it to another level. And I think that was it. Yeah, everything else is just you're already moving in that direction. Um, you talk about ethical concerns as you're moving forward. You can concretely name ethical principles that undermine your decisions. So you might you use a language that kind of frames this is how I kind of see the thing. But when you name, here's my ethical underpinning or ethical principle underpinning this decision. So if it's justice or stewardship or self-care or whatever. So you both describe what you do and then name it
Mhm.
as here's the ethical opinion. So what you can hear is really what I'm appreciating is you're doing this stuff. And as you get to the next unit, you're going to want to be able to put more of those labels on what you're doing.
Gotcha.
And that demonstrates the competencies in that unit. And clearly, I'm thinking forward, knowing I won't be in that unit with you, but I want you to be well confident
Yeah.
in, yeah, I'm ready for this unit. And these are the things I'm looking for. And these are the kind of questions I have. So if you make an observation about a group dynamic and you're not sure it's a dynamic and you don't know if there is a theory, it's a question you can ask. Hey, I'm
Gosh,
observing this, maybe sadness. Is there how do I name this as a group dynamic? And is there a theory that would be helpful? And that just just keeps moving you forward.
interesting.
And that's it. That's the gist of what I wanted to share.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I think yeah, I can benefit a lot. I feel like I've grown in just being able to perceive that in this unit because of how you've engaged with me. And I know it's in there. It's just a lot of times I don't articulate it. So if I can put those two pieces together, I think it would, you're right, strengthen a lot of what I contribute.
Yes.
So I
Good.
will work on that. I have my week 10 reflection already written. So you're going to get that
Okay.
as is, but I'll
Okay.
probably try to start implementing what you're suggesting just for the last few weeks of
Yeah.
this just to practice. And maybe if there's a hole as you read through it and you think, oh, Kate, you could insert something here. Maybe you just even like
Okay.
put like an X or something, like think about what could fill in this space. And
Okay.
then it'll get me to reflect a little bit on that too as I
That's a
practice.
really good strategy. That's a really good strategy. That sets you up well for your next unit. And I think you said you were going to do the board certification thing.
Ultimately, yes, in this long slog that is my educational life, yes, that is my goal at the end of it. I have the way that I'm kind of thinking about now is I'm finishing up my MDiv at Fuller, and it's a lot to take MDiv coursework and CPE at the same time.
It
I have
sure is.
two more classes and I'm done with my MDiv. So I'm thinking I'll probably not take CPE next quarter, which is such a bummer because I love how much value this adds to my professional work, but I kind of need to just not kill myself and
Okay.
my family. So that's
Okay.
kind of where I am right now. It's not 100%, but also part of it too is we're traveling to Europe through it's like January 11th. So I would miss all the days of orientation and everything, which kind of has me thinking like I don't want to have to start from a position of scramble for something that I like so much. So that being said, it would either be next summer or more likely next fall when I would take my third unit and then my fourth right after it. And then my understanding is that it takes a year after that to be eligible for board certification with like all the reflection and stuff that goes into that process. So probably I'd guess sometime May 2027 would be about when I'm hitting no, May 2028. So it's still a ways off for me,
Yeah, it is. Okay. And I'm,
unless you have thoughts or suggestions on all that.
oh, okay. I, I would encourage provisional certification. Some people wait to get the 2,000 clinical hours that don't begin to count until after 4 units of CPE.
Mm,
And then they do the certification because then they've got everything, the 4 units of CPE, the MDiv, and the clinical hours. But provisional certification allows you to be certified while you're still working, accumulating the clinical hours. So
oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I encourage that. And I would encourage your fourth unit, if not your third and your fourth unit, goals being linked to the board certification.
Mm,
So maybe in the third unit, it's a casual linking. One of my goals is to spend time looking at the process, getting a handle on it, understanding, building from the didactic that I had in previous unit. That would be a soft start. And then the fourth unit is my goal is to complete one of these questions a week. And your weekly reflection might actually be on that
when
question.
when you say one of these questions, which question?
There are, I forgive me, I may have the number wrong, I think there are 31 competencies that you have to demonstrate for board certification, which you can imagine sitting down to that in one chunk,
Oh
even for a chunk lover, is a lot. So I would encourage saying, hey, I'm going to do one a week or whatever schedule works during the unit, and maybe even negotiate with the educator how it can work in with assignments that you have. So I have weekly reflection, so that would be something, but not all educators have that. But there may be something else. And you can say, hey, I'd like to do this for that.
gotcha.
Likely
Okay.
to have IS. So you definitely could say, okay, I want to read this question. Nothing is finalized, it's all draft. Am I moving in the right direction?
Okay.
Because the board certification sounds like a whole nother language.
Hmm.
Really is the CPE language, but it sounds like, why can't they just ask me what they want? The fact that they had to use 5 sentences should tell them it's not clear. So that's an opportunity for you to say, okay, this is what I think they're asking. This is my answer. Is this what they're asking?
Okay.
And do it sooner than later. And not, and it's less pressure because you're just outlining, oh, I think it's this. And then with your mind on it while you're taking CPE, you go,
Yeah.
oh, I have an example of that. I'm gonna put it right here and make a note of the example. So when you come back, it'll be easy to write, easier. So that would be my recommendation to really, I've always wanted to do a unit that was the goal of the unit was board certification.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like what my daughter does in high school for just like, what are you even thinking about with college? And you're like, I don't know. I just think I'm going to college. And then you have to really drill down into the nature of that. It seems like that actually would be just a really good offering to have, even if it was like a 3 day course or something where, because I remember you said actually you may still be doing this, that you were going to do a here's what you need to know about CPE questions in your future didactic or something along those
I did
lines.
say I was going to do a board certification
Something like that. Yeah.
mock for with Alfredo is going to be the candidate. Um, and I have a didactic on board certification that I have done that I could send you, but that they change a little bit. So I would have to find some time to update it. But yeah, so here's a way, because when you sit down at the beginning of that unit, you start thinking about your goals
Yeah.
of putting it in your brain early.
Yeah. That's a great
And
idea.
yeah. So that's all I have on that. Yeah, good. It's definitely doable. The provisional means it doesn't have to be a year later. You could go and
Yeah. I
see.
didn't even know that was possible. So you just apply to that through
Mhm.
ACPE or is it a different?
That's why that soft is so helpful. You just go to Association of Professional Chaplains. You join as a student. So when you
Mhm.
have to pay the board certification fee, which is run by the Association of Professional Chaplains,
Mhm.
you pay a lesser fee because you're a member. And then you select what kind of certification you're getting. And it's certified with clinical units or certified without the clinical units, and it's called provisional. And you simply select provisional.
Provisional.
Some people have to do certification without an MDiv. And so they have to demonstrate all the educational piece, which is a much more difficult journey. But that's another thing. You don't have to have an MDiv to be board certified. So you just select the one you want, you pull it up, and it literally lays it out for you. But it's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
What they all have in common, if I'm calling again, forgive me on the number, is the same 31 competencies
Okay.
that link directly to your outcomes and your indicators.
Okay.
So
So
that's
that is it like you have all this kind of writing prep work hours, and then you actually just go in front of a board for like a 2 hour conversation? Is that what happens at the end of it?
that's a great question. You have a whole lot of documents you have to submit. And remind me, there's one more thing I want to say to you.
Okay.
And you submit all those documents. They approve. They say, oh, yep, this is correct. This is correct. The documents are correct. and you submit your competencies. At least two of the competencies you demonstrate in public. When I mean in the interview, like shows up in a professional way, and then there's something else. And then the competencies are read by your interview committee, and they decide, oh, this passed. This she demonstrated, she or he or they demonstrated this competency in writing.
Mm.
They go through all of them. They go, okay, out of the 31, there are five of them that we feel they did not demonstrate in writing. So the presenter will send you an email just a couple of weeks before your interview, maybe 7 days before. Here are the competencies we don't think you have demonstrated in writing. Hint, hint. Then when you go to the interview and you get an interviewer, and I might say some of this in the didactic, who says, where would you like to begin? Or says, you could tell us a little bit about yourself if you like. You would say, well, no, I would rather begin with the competencies I did not demonstrate in writing. Let me begin with the first one. And you go through them and then you demonstrate them in the interview. When you're
Ah,
finished or while you're talking, they may ask you other questions. They may say, when I read your verbatim, this piece right here concerned me. Could you say more about this? I read your letter of recommendation from so and so, and they said you were very argumentative. Could you talk more about that? Is that they will ask questions from anywhere in the whole packet. But that interview, the key is to demonstrate the competencies that you're out that were not marked off as approved in that interview. And it's usually four people, I think. So you have between an hour and 90 minutes. If it's all done in an hour, they'll say, okay, go away. We're going to deliberate. We'll call you back and we'll tell you our result. If after an hour, they're like, a little more conversation might help. They have up to another 30 minutes. Then when that's done, it's done. They say, okay, go away and we'll call you back. And literally, if you do it virtually, they just put you in a breakout room. But if you're in person, you literally get up and walk outside to a room they've arranged for you. They bring you back and they tell you right then, you've passed or you haven't, and this is why. That's it.
that's terrifying, Donna.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it is though, you are totally in control. You're sitting down with colleagues, people who are chaplains like you, and you go in the room knowing what competencies the presenter and others felt were not specifically the presenter felt were not met. And that's where you've had time to prepare.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I say claim the space. You can say, I'm really nervous, so I have notes for my preparation. I'll be looking at those notes. It's done deal. Rather than trying to do it off the top of your head in a very high stressful moment. So then you just roll and they'll ask you questions and I'll ask for examples and you'll go. The key is to not lose track of time. You got to get through the five or three or two or one or whatever it is, and to be yourself, to allow
Mm,
them to see, because ultimately what they're asking is this somebody I would want to show up for me as a
mm,
chaplain? So they're trying to get a feel for you. They've gotten some from all the some materials you submitted. And when you look at the materials you submit, you'll understand why they only need an hour with you
mm.
in person to know whether or not you would be a board certified chaplain. And the goal is to come out of there either certified or with real clear instructions on what they feel needs to happen. So it sounds intimidating, because it is, but it's also doable. And that's why I encourage you to put it in your goals. And,
Yeah,
and hopefully your educator will be certified too. So you'll be able to ask questions like, well, what is this going to sound like to somebody? And then they can tell you. And I serve both to give back, but also because I think it's important that I serve on these committees because it's forever changing. So
yeah,
I'm able to give updated information to my students.
yeah. Well, if you ever start hiring yourself out as a tutor for this, let me know. I think
There are people
I'm
you can
gonna
pay.
need a tutor.
There are people you can pay. who will
Really?
through the process. Yeah. And I've seen it vary from $2,000 to like 5,000.
Oh
Maybe
my goodness. Okay. Yeah.
you group, you write, you send it back, no guarantees, but they're taking you through the process. You also
Gotcha.
can ask for a mentor from APC at no charge. And I
Okay.
extend to everybody, all of my students, I'm happy to read your materials and give you feedback even after CPE is over at no charge.
Um, yeah, that's really valuable. It shows just how much it means to you as part of the community. Not it, the way you're presenting it makes it seem like a community that you're working towards, but that gives back to you as well, versus like kind of this arbitrary, you got to cross the line, figure out how to get there, go. You're
Right.
like, I
And
don't
that's,
know.
and if you sit down to that board certification website with all that you have to do, it is a lot. So
Yeah.
I encourage people to do it in groups. Say, hey,
Okay.
find a buddy. If you don't pay to go through a program, for sure, find a buddy. But even if you pay to go through a program, it can be helpful to have a buddy. Having said that, one of the biggest hurdles that I have seen is the endorsement. There is a move to remove a faith community endorsing or a spiritual community giving you a letter of endorsement. But right now, that's still a part of the process. But eventually it won't. And it isn't a matter of, oh, I'm Baptist, let me get my Baptist friend. Each community has a board certification approved process for that endorsement letter. So when I was in the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, there was a particular representative who I had to submit documents to, interview with, and they gave me the endorsement. I only found
Gotcha.
out because I got an endorsement letter from my bishop, only to discover, oh no, this is who it has to be with. And they can tell you who it is.
Okay.
And it's different with each tradition.
Okay. And all of that is pretty well specified in the guidelines on the
Yep.
website, right?
And they have a phone number and an
Okay.
email, and
Okay.
they are responsive.
Yeah, I kind of looked through it, but it just seemed like a lot, so I didn't
Yeah,
worry too much about it, but that's good to
right.
know.
And the endorsement letter is not so daunting if you're ordained. If you're not ordained, then you got to figure out what do I do to meet your endorsement qualifications. And they'll tell you, okay, well, this is what we will require from you. Because you can say, this is where I am. So how can we make this work? Because
Yeah.
everybody's not ordained.
Yeah. Yeah, my ordination will be running in parallel as all of this goes on. And I'm definitely talking to people. So I know that conversation will continue. I'm not sure about all the timing of it yet.
Right. That's good. Okay, good. So it's in your ear. That's all you on your in your chunks.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for explaining that.
You are welcome.
It seems like just a big blurry goal at this stage, but I definitely would like to get there. And you've made it seem much more tangible.
Good. I'm glad. Your setting is not the most common setting, but it is not unique. And what they will do when they put your committee together is to try to find someone who's in your setting to serve on your committee.
Oh,
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So you're
yeah, I would say
sitting
that
there.
actually probably would help me relax so much because really, for the most part, I like the guys I work with a lot. And I mean, they got all kinds of stuff going on, but I always think that God commands us to work with the poor, as the poor are generally defined, not because we're so much benefiting them, but because they grow us in ways that just explode our perception of life. So for me, that is just what these guys do for me all the time, and I will be forever grateful for it. So I kind of hope that there is someone like that
When you
on the
say
committee.
these guys, who are these guys?
The guys that I care for, like my work, my vocation. So someone who has been in jail, someone who has been in prison, if they find someone to serve like that or connected with that, it's humbling to work in this space, and it actually makes me feel more at ease than say like a medical chaplain, maybe where I have experience in a medical field, but chaplaincy I think is just different in different spaces, and it's nice to find someone who connects with yours.
Excellent. And the way you articulated there, you grounded your orienting system with a clear theological statement.
Mm.
And I knew who they were. I just wanted you to say it.
Oh,
And
okay.
you interact with your spiritual care receivers and you grounded it.
Yeah.
And you say, God commands you. That's your orienting system. And that's why, and boom, boom, boom. And this is how it impacts me. The next step would be, and how does that impact the way you care? You
Okay.
got this. You got this.
Thanks for the encouragement. You're
You
always so
are
encouraging.
welcome. You're
That's
welcome.
one of
It's
my
free.
favorite things about you is you're like, here's all the hard things. And then you always finish with, and you're awesome. And I'm rooting for you for all of it. It's like the cherry on the top.
Well, see, the chaplain as cheerleader apparently never completely died. I've learned how to use it better.
In CPE, it is a very handy chaplain skill.
Yes, it is. I agree. I agree. Do you have any questions about the asynchronous learning, those 2 weeks of movies and how all that's going?
No, I feel pretty confident about that, actually. So
Okay,
yeah, I read the syllabus carefully. I think it's laid out. There's no IS. We still have the same 3 key deliverables that we do every week, but just shift to the movie and the movie write up based on all your questions, which you wrote out so beautifully and clearly.
good. Thank you. And that can serve, as I said, as your weekly reflection. So
Oh,
it's
we can.
optional.
Okay. I
It's
missed
optional.
that piece of it. Okay. Good to
So
know.
that's the only good. Then you're ready to go. I know there is some frustration. I only know because it's been presented to me. There's some frustration around missing those two, and then we're meeting on the 26th of November and all of that. It was my best effort at giving us a cushion in our 100 hours and honoring my 2 years preparing to go to Africa. And I didn't want to undo my trip. uh, I didn't think I would be teaching. So that was I really worked hard to try so that it's not busy work, it's concrete, it's
Yeah.
connected to your outcomes, and it's substantive learning. But and my travel
Yeah.
is in
Well,
part
I
shaped.
already thought you put a lot of amazing effort into it. I did not realize it was because you were going to Africa, so that makes me even happier because
Thank you.
well deserved. Something like that is really special and meaningful in a life.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I'm in MDiv school, I'm always just like, what's the assignment in front of me? Let's go. Let's not
Right.
go. I don't really put a judgment on any of
But
that.
I love that about you. Yes. Well, if you have nothing else, then I'm happy. We're good. Okay. We're good to go.
Okay.
And I'll see you tonight. I hope
All
yours
right.
has just as good reception.